Hi, okay, so hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So it is Friday morning. I decided to film this right now before I had to go to work. Car's warming up. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. No, because it is Friday morning. I have to go to work. I have D&D tonight. I have plans Saturday night, and I have book club on Monday. So I do not have a ton of time to read The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, especially since I only have the audiobook available from the library. I could not access the ebook. So unless I go and purchase that, it's audio all the way, which is fine. I'm just gonna bring you along as I try to vlog this. I can't record at work because I work in healthcare, so HIPAA, but that's okay. I will try to update you, but that's my plan for the next 72 hours is try to listen to as much of the Starless Sea audiobook as possible. I read The Night Circus years ago and I liked it. I actually read The Night Circus 2 or 3 times over the last 15 years or whatever since it's come out, and I've really liked it. And I think I've listened to it every time. I'm pretty sure because I remember the narrator. So I'm hopeful for this. I literally know nothing about it. I want to say pirates. I don't know where I got that. Maybe just because it's the Starless Sea. I don't know. I think that this book is sort of polarizing. I think that there's some people who really like it and there's some people who really don't. So who knows? I will try to keep you posted, but wish me luck. Also, I have a book club on Wednesday and also haven't started that book. And exactly the same problem is that, well, I don't even know if it's available. Hopefully it is, fingers crossed. But the problem is that I have book club on Monday and then I have D&D on Tuesday. So I have even work both of those days. So who knows if I will get to finish either one of these books. But my goal is Starless Sea. I'll keep it posted. Okay, so end of my work day, which was long and busy as they tend to be. This seems to be my new normal. So I didn't even get a chance to open the Starless Sea audiobook until after lunch. And then I was like, oh, this is 19 hours. 19 hours long, friends. Yeah, well, the paperback did not seem that big when I had one a while ago. I gifted it, which was how the Starless Sea even got chosen for this book club. But anyway, point is, I was like, okay, cool. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to have any chance to finish this today. Not that that was really in the cards, but yeah. So it does look like my library has one single large print version, but they're already closed for today, and I will hopefully go there tomorrow to try to get the large print and then can dual read, listen and read at the same time. So that's the plan for tomorrow. But D&D tonight, have to drive home, have to figure out dinner. But yeah, so for now, quick update on the chunk I read. I'm only an hour and 45 minutes in or so. I'm listening to it on 1.5 speed. There's multiple narrators. This seems to be a story within a story within a story, possibly. I don't know. I'm intrigued, but it's definitely kind of slow and meandering at the moment. But that's sort of how the Night Circus was too. So I will tune in when I have read past the very start of the book. Okay, so just wanted to give you a little end of work update. Hi. Okay, so sorry this angle is weird. I don't know what's going on. But I just wanted to give you an update on the Starless Sea. I went and picked up the physical book. This is the large print version from the library yesterday. It is Sunday at noonish. And I just wanted to give you an update. So yesterday was Saturday. It was pretty chill day. I purposely tried to kind of take things easy. I did get I'm at 33% of the book right now, and that's because I got a little bit of reading done concurrently with the physical copy in the afternoon, and then I also listened to the audiobook when I was driving to and from my plans in the evening, which were a movie club with some sort of new friends. I know one person there, and I'm slowly getting to know the rest of the people that she's invited to this movie club. There's only been 2 meetings, and so far it's good. It's really nice to get together with a cool group of ladies who all seem to be pretty smart, and we have great discussions about the movies that we're watching. So we watched a Swedish subtitled movie yesterday that was Becoming Astrid, which was not real. It was, the main character was the person who wrote the Pippi Longstocking books, Astrid Lindgren, but like it wasn't about her becoming that author. Anyway, point was, had a good time at movie club. My update for Starless Sea is I'm at like 33%, which is definitely not as far, as much progress as I would have liked to be at this point, because, you know, it's noon on Sunday. I don't have very many hours left before book club on Monday evening, but we're going to just keep on going. I think that the book is interesting so far. We are following, it's definitely told in these like, I don't know. I felt like she did this in Night Circus too. In the Night Circus, like we have, if I remember correctly, we have two points of view who are the two players who are like playing a game, but then there's also this like third perspective that is sort of like the Night Circus as like a observer, as like you are like walking through the Night Circus, and then like later there's more perspectives of some of the people who are participants in the Night Circus or something. So like I sort of feel like something similar is being done here, because we are reading sort of a book within a book sort of a situation, but like we don't, it's supposed to like the stories that are within the book that are about books and are about the Starless Sea, and then like there's also perspectives from Zachary, but then like it sort of is a little confusing, because it's sort of unclear to me how many of those little vignettes that are like the book within the book that we which now at like in book 2 of this chunk of the Starless Sea book, it's hard to talk about this. In the first part of this Starless Sea book, there are excerpts from the Sea of Sorrows or something, like a book within a book, and then there's all these little like vignettes, and like now in book 2, part 2 of the Starless Sea, there are more vignettes, but it's from another book, like something about fables or something. And it's sort of unclear to me how many of those are going to be relevant to like the sort of like macro story, which is following a character named Zachary. And my frustration so far is that, you know, I'm all for books that don't just explain everything to you, that don't just info dump. Like I want to be kind of thrown in the middle and then just kind of like learn as we go along. Like I'm happy with that. But like there's a balance between being curious and not having enough answers, and you want to continue to get those answers, and then also like getting enough answers to be satisfying, and then like makes you want to keep reading more. Ben is playing video games in the background. Sorry if you can hear him. And I feel like this book is not giving me enough answers. It's just sort of like more and more questions, more and more mysterious, more and more confusing. And I'm hopeful that like at the actual pages that I'm at right now, like that Zachary is going to have an opportunity to get some questions answered, because like he is not really, it's just been question after question after question at this point. So I'm really hopeful that we're going to get some info dump soon, because I want a little bit of that payoff. Like I'm starting to get like because is taking so long for my curiosity to be satisfied, I'm starting to get frustrated. But I am enjoying this. I do think it's very like lyrical. The audiobook has multiple narrators, both for Zachary as well as all these little like vignettes and fables and stuff. So sometimes so I do think that that's nice to kind of distinguish, but also I don't know. I'm sort of complicated and mixed emotions so far, but hopefully I can make some more progress today. I'm going to put in a few extra hours of overtime at work, get that money, and I'll have an opportunity to listen to the audiobook while I'm at work. Fingers crossed. So I will tune in again later with more of my thoughts. Hi. Okay, so I just got home from work. I put in a couple hours of overtime on Sunday. It is Sunday at like 5:30ish, and the sky is beautiful, beautiful sunset. Very like trans pride flag. I'll try to put a picture in. Yeah, I am now at 45% of the Starless Sea. I would have preferred to get a little bit further, but I'm just kind of like on a struggle bus, right? I don't understand why, because I'm enjoying the writing well enough. Overall, I should be really enjoying the story, because it's all about stories and books and the magic and also like the magic of stories and that kind of thing. I just feel frustrated, because here we are at 45% of the book, and it's like we don't have any answers. It just kind of keeps getting more convoluted. There's more and more questions raised, and I'm just like, I want some answers. I was saying to my book club group, I think there's a balance needed of curiosity and intrigue and mystery, balanced with enough satisfaction and answers to like understand where you're going, right? Like I don't understand what Zachary's like purpose is. Is he trying to become a guardian? Are other people wanting him to become a guardian? Like, what is sort of the whole point and origin of like the Starless Sea? Like, we have all these questions, and so does Zachary, and so it just feels really frustrating to have action and plot keep happening and be like, I'm just along for the ride, but like 8,000 question marks. And what started off as like very like quaint and cute and interesting little stories sort of interspersed amongst or like between every chapter is like now becoming annoying, because I'm like, okay, another story that I can kind of ignore that's just like a fable or a metaphor or whatever. But then like sometimes those come back around, or sometimes they're like referenced, or sometimes Zachary's like, oh, remember that detail I read from that one story? Like now I'm going to bring it up. So it feels like I don't like having to be. Normally, it doesn't bother me to jump around from point of view to point of view. Normally, it doesn't really bother me to have like a story within a story or have a framework and kind of jump around between those things. But this time it's like the framework is not, it's not like one story, not like story A, story B, and we keep returning to them. It's like story A is Zachary's story and we keep getting A. But it's like A, B, A, C, A, D. And then it's like occasionally it's like A again. But like, so it's just frustrating. And I want more answers and I want more payoff before I keep going. So a little annoyed and frustrated. Hi. Okay. So when was the last time I updated you? I think it was Sunday after work, couple hours of that sweet overtime. Well, it is now Thursday evening. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So book club actually technically already happened. Let me give you an update. Let me catch you up to now. Okay, so yes, I listened to the audiobook of The Starless Sea a bit on Sunday while I was at work, but not as much as I would have liked. Don't remember what I said in that last clip. I actually came home and was like, all right, gotta like really make a big dent in this book, right? And I read probably about 2 hours. I was listening to the audiobook and reading the large print version copy that is somewhere around here at the same time. And I was messaging the group chat for my book club and was saying, hey, here's some thoughts or whatever. And I got a bunch of feedback, which was mostly that nobody else had read it or read that far. And I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'm not going to, really push myself to try to finish, especially since I was already like way in the lead by like a lot. So yeah, so I did not really push myself to finish. I think I got to about 67-ish%. Maybe it feels like a little bit more than that, but I think that's what my audiobook currently says. Yes, thank you for noticing. I did get my haircut. And then yeah, so book club was on Monday, and I did not take any pictures or video because, am I a content creator? No. But yeah, so everyone came over to my house and we did like a little potluck, and it was a nice time, and we didn't hardly talk about the book very much at all. I had the most to say because I had read up to, 70-ish%. And I think like the next most read person was at like 25%. I mean, people just had stuff going on in their lives. I'm like, that's fine. And like, I understand, like, your kids take priority. I get that. So yeah, so it was still a good book club, but we definitely talked more about The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern and also the new Prince Harry book. A lot more about both of those other books, especially Prince Harry, than we did about The Starless Sea. So I still have some frustrations with where I am now. I don't want to like hammer this home because I feel like I've said this before in previous clips, but like I'm still kind of frustrated with the book, because it, like, all of these, I now some of these like little stories that we've been getting tastes of, some of them are circling back around, or some of the characters are sort of circling back around, or it sort of feels to me like they like this one now is sort of a retelling almost of this one from previous. And so I'm still frustrated, and I feel like Zachary also is like supposed to be this super special chosen one, I think, but like he doesn't have any answers. And so yeah, so I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed. For me, it's at least I would say like a 3-star for right now, but I honestly have not made a single word of progress since Monday night. I just have not had interest in picking the book back up. So I do intend to finish it because I feel close and I enjoy the book. I have been enjoying the book. I'm also very frustrated with the book, and I am annoyed. And so I will tune back in whenever I have finished hopefully that is soon, because I just kind of want to like read it and be done. But yeah, so that is your update on the Starless Sea. Hi, okay, so I'm here to finish out the vlog for the Starless Sea because I have finished reading this book. I DNF'd it, which is a real bummer because I made it to about 75%. So I just, pretty much everything that I said throughout this vlog, I think remains true. I was at about 65 to 70%, somewhere right in there, at book club on Monday. And at the time I was like, yeah, I'm gonna finish it. I intend to finish it. And I have had zero desire to pick it up the entire week. We are now on Sunday. It's been 6 full days since book club. Had zero desire to read it the whole week and was frustrated that it was sitting there just like kind of staring at me like, hey, you're at 70%. So this morning I picked it back up, was continuing to read, and got another 5-ish%. So I'm DNFing it at 75%, which is very frustrating to me. I don't have a problem DNFing, but usually it's, you know, in the first little bit of the book. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but I feel like everything I said before kind of stands. The first 25% of the book is a lot of setup and a lot of sort of intrigue, and it was kind of confusing, but I was like, it's okay, like, well, there'll be payoff. Very intriguing start. I liked the writing style. I liked the characters. I was like, okay, we're cool, like, good, great. The second quarter of the book, up to 50%, there was a little bit of intrigue, I'd say, wearing off, and there's a little bit more confusion and a little bit more feelings of being overwhelmed, but also there was a little bit more action and there was like plot, and it felt like we were finally like meeting characters who could maybe give Zachary some information, some answers. And I was like, okay, like we're reaching a part that I was like excited for. And then the last quarter that I read, the third quarter of the book, from 50 to 75%, it's just sort of more of the same. Like, some of these little vignettes, these little stories that are throughout, have started to kind of circle back around. And I had basically dismissed them as, well, this is probably not important because it's not come back up. And so it was hard to remember these little stories. It was hard for me to kind of, like, I could see parallels between them, but I was like, is this supposed to be something we're supposed to remember? Is this something we're supposed to be relevant to our characters that we care about? I just was getting more and more feelings of confusion and overwhelming, and like, what is the purpose here? What is the goal here? Why should I care? And this book is so heavily laden with so many metaphors for the keys and the bees and the honey and the knowledge and the locks and the swords. And it was like, it felt like it was like trying so hard to be like, I'm saying something deep, that like, without ever saying anything deep, that I just was floundering. So I just didn't have any interest in continuing. I was actually like kind of just to the point where I was confused enough, overwhelmed enough, didn't want to remember enough, that I was just getting bored. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm only at 75%. I still have another 25% of this book to go, over 100 pages left. And I thought, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to push myself to do that. So that's where I've landed. It's really a bummer because I was so excited to start this book. It's been on my list for a long time. I loved The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern a number of years ago. And this one just didn't have the same sort of structure or like goals or clearly laid out plot, I guess, that The Night Circus did, and therefore it suffered for that, in my opinion. So if you've read The Starless Sea, if you think I'm really missing out, if you think I really should finish it, let me know why down in the comments below. I've not even read any like reviews online for what happens at the end. I might do that just to kind of like find out if it does wrap all together in a nice little bow, but like, I don't want to have to read 90% of a book, hundreds of pages, just to have like a tie off at the end. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be enjoying it as I go. So this is where I'm going to end the vlog, and I am disappointed. And hopefully you are not too disappointed in me and this vlog for not finishing the book, but it do be like that sometimes. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully my next book will be a bit more of a winner. So see you next time. Bye.